Have you ever brought a knife to a gunfight? Or maybe sometimes you had to shoot from the hip or to stand your ground. And sometimes, of course, it's time to bite the bullet and bury the hatchet. Could you understand what I'm talking about? If not, then stay tuned because this is Business English Idioms for War. There's lots of idioms that we use that are kind of war related. So we'll go through several of them and maybe you'll learn something. Stay tuned. I'm Timothy Barrett, and this is the For Business English Rundown. This is the show for people all over the world who want to improve their professional communication skills in English. This is Business English Idioms for War, Part 2. Bury the hatchet. So the hatchet is a small axe. It's basically an axe for one hand, but it's got a small axe handle. So it can be used, if you're in the woods, kind of clearing some trees, that sort of thing. But it's also a weapon of war, especially with the American Indians. I think you use the hatchet a lot. So to bury the hatchet, to bury, to dig a hole, put the hatchet in, and then put the dirt on top, means I don't need the hatchet anymore. I'm putting the war behind us. We're not fighting anymore. I buried the hatchet. So what does that mean in everyday life? Well, I hated this person. I was at war with this person. But you know what? We buried the hatchet. We worked it out. Whatever the problems were between us, we've agreed to move on. Maybe we're friends now. Maybe we've just agreed not to fight. Either way, but we agreed to bury the hatchet. We're not going to fight anymore. We don't need the hatchet anymore. So maybe we're not friends, but we're not enemies anymore. Let's bury the hatchet. Similar to bury the hatchet is to beat swords into plowshares. So basically, especially going back in history, metal would have been valuable. So if you have metal that's made into a sword, but the war is over, there's no more war, you might reforge that metal into a plowshare. So basically into a plow for farming, agricultural tools. So that means okay, the war is over, we'll get rid of our swords, we'll make farming equipment out of them. So somewhat similar to bury the hatchet. To shoot from the hip. I think of Wild West movies, when they have a fast draw, quick draw, they're on the main street and they're looking at each other, it's high noon, and they go for their guns and they pull them out, and as soon as they clear the holster, they shoot. So they're shooting from the hip. Normally, they would pull it up right in front of them, get a good sight with using their eye to aim at the enemy. But if you're in a hurry, you're just going to shoot from the hip. And so your accuracy is probably not going to be as good. So if we're saying someone is shooting from the hip, maybe they're talking and they don't fully know what they're talking about, or they haven't fully investigated, they haven't done all of their research. She's just shooting from the hip. This is her initial thoughts or something like that. So this is often someone that's very aggressive. They're shooting from the hip. They're not waiting to bring it up to aim fully. As soon as they clear that holster, they're pulling the trigger, putting rounds down range. So it could be a good or a bad thing. If you're shooting from the hip, you could get yourself in trouble because you don't know everything and you're not aiming very, very well. But maybe you're getting some early hits. Maybe because of your aggressiveness, that could be a good thing. Depends on the context. But you have to be careful if someone shoots from the hip. Uphill battle. So an uphill battle kind of makes sense. You're going uphill. So who has the advantage? The people on top of the hill fighting down are going to be at an advantage. If you're going up the hill, you have a distinct disadvantage. Something similar might be to choose your battles. So choose your battles. Don't just engage in the enemy whenever the enemy wants. You choose, I'm going to fight here, not over there. It's my advantage over here. It's a disadvantage for me over here. So maybe you don't like someone, in your company, in your office or something like that, but you can't fight them on everything. I could make a big argument about this, but I'm afraid I might lose, but I'm going to wait until they make a mistake, or I'm going to wait I know that I'm right. I know that I'm going to win. And then I'm going to choose that battle. I'm not going to fight every battle. A loose cannon. A loose cannon is someone who basically, when they shoot, who knows who they're going to hit. A loose cannon is somewhat similar to shooting from the hip. A loose cannon, who knows where they're going to go. They might attack over here, they might attack over there, they might hit here, they might hit there. Who knows? Watch out, they're a loose cannon. They might come after me, they might come after you. Who knows what they're going to do? They're a loose cannon. To close ranks. So if you think of a military formation, maybe the soldiers are kind of spread out, but then they're given a command and they close ranks. They get very close together. So what does this mean in everyday English? Basically, if people are closing ranks, they're kind of defending themselves. So gee, I know something happened over there, but I asked so-and-so, they wouldn't talk to me. I asked this person, they wouldn't talk to me. I asked this other person, they wouldn't talk to me. They're closing ranks. They're not talking to anybody. No, they're not talking to any outsiders. I don't know what happened. I know something happened there, but I can't figure it out because everyone closed ranks. They're not telling anybody. So this could be a good thing, but often we use closed ranks if we think like there's kind of a cover-up. Something happened here, maybe something illegal or unethical or something maybe embarrassing. Maybe it wasn't illegal, but something embarrassing happened. But they closed ranks. Nobody is talking about it. No information's getting out. All right. Hopefully these business English idioms for war have been helpful for you. If they have, then time to conquer that like button and make it ours. If you enjoyed this video, check out some of our other videos. You might like them even more. Work hard today and enjoy tomorrow.